Let's discuss all the amazing content Netflix has added to its platform this February. Some of them are popular franchises that you already know, and some are Netflix originals. This will include looking at several movies, series, and reality shows. Let's get started with the movies getting added that aren't Netflix originals. Now, anyone who's ever picked up a book has heard of The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The movie adaptation came out in 2013, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, and Carey Mulligan. The movie does its best to capture the emotional stakes and the gritty humor of The Great Gatsby, giving it a fitting adaptation of the classic book. This is why I was so pleased when I heard Netflix was adding it to their platform on February 1st. That's right, the first Pacific Rim movie is also coming to Netflix, and I couldn't be more thrilled. Pacific Rim is what happens when you mix Power Rangers and Idris Elba. With battles between huge robots and even bigger monsters called kaiju, Pacific Rim is nothing but an action-packed adventure with some amazing visuals and incredible storytelling. It's also coming to Netflix by February 1st. Speaking of amazing visuals, probably the most visually stunning movie I've seen since Avatar is Ready Player One, the brainchild of phenomenal director Steven Spielberg, and it's all based on the best-selling book of the same name. In a world where most of humanity is overly fond of a virtual reality game called The Oasis, witness the story of Wade Watts, who tries to win a challenge set by the game's creator that will help him take over the game, and by doing so, control the world. Next up is IT 2017. If you haven't seen the 2017 horror classic IT based on the Stephen King book of the same name, you are in for a treat. It focuses on a group of children whose town and kids are haunted by a demon clown named Pennywise. The story is truly one of a kind, a horror story like none other, and amazingly, we get to see it on Netflix. The original Resident Evil 2002 film and Resident Evil Retribution are also coming to Netflix. Watch the rather exciting stories of how the world gets taken over by zombies and how a badass female protagonist, Alice, tries to save the world as she battles the evil Umbrella Association. Probably one of the best multiverse-centered movies I've ever seen is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a story about a mom trying to connect with her younger daughter only to get thrown into a heated multiversal conflict that somehow centers around her family across the multiverse. Michelle Yeoh delivers an absolutely iconic performance in this movie, which actually earned her an Oscar award. The movie is inspiring and original with action-packed scenes, heartfelt moments, and an overall great watch. Now, some of the other movies getting added to Netflix include Horrible Bosses 2 by February 10th, Plus One on February 2nd, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Tom and Jerry 2021, Magic Mike The Last Dance, American Assassin, Fury, and the 2022 movie X are all coming to Netflix by February 1st. And if you're enjoying this video, then be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can always stay updated on the new releases and great movie content on your favorite streaming platforms. Now let's move on to the Netflix original films. The first one up here is Orion and the Dark. So this is Orion, and the story is crazy. Turns out that this little boy is very afraid of the dark, and it's a real problem until Fear himself pays him a visit as an embodiment of the thing he fears the most. You guessed it, the dark. Now, Fear takes Orion on a journey around the world to help him overcome his fear of the dark. The story is gritty, it's funny, and wholesome. Definitely a watch for the family, with Jacob Tremblay being the voice of Orion. You may know him from the movies such as Luca. Orion and the Dark become available on Netflix on February 2nd. And then we got Love Stalker Killer. Netflix always has a way of hitting us with some good true crime documentary, and Love Stalker Killer is no different. The movie is about a guy, Dave Krupa, who recently became single after ending his long-term relationship, so he decided to try his luck in online dating. This ultimately led him into the hands of a rather psychotic woman, and one thing led to another. She got really unhappy with him, and thus a psychotic stalker was born, dedicated to making my man's life a living hell. It's a crazy story that highlights just how dangerous the dating world can be. Speaking of the dating world, it's the season of love, and what better way to celebrate love than checking out a pretty great romantic comedy. Players focuses on a group of friends who happen to have a system of running plays that help them score in their dating life, and it's all fun and good until one friend falls for the most eligible bachelor in the whole city. And I'm not even kidding, that's what he's called. So now they all have to work together to ensure that she gets together with this guy, and a lot of drama emerges. Players is funny and quirky, has a well-rounded cast featuring personalities like Gina Rodriguez, David Wayans, Lizzie Koshy, and oh my god, Tom Ellis. Yep, you don't want to watch any other movie for Valentine's Day other than Players. Now, for a more relatable movie experience, the Heartbreak Agency is here to offer a sobs to anyone willing to watch it. When a journalist decides to investigate a popular therapist who specializes in heartbreak in his agency, the skeptical journalist ends up falling into the system he so skeptically denies, and he ends up opening up to the therapist about the experiences in his love life. Next, we have Code 8 Part 2. The sequel to the 2019 movie Code 8 starring Robbie and Stephen Amell is coming to Netflix. The movie features a world populated by individuals with special abilities, and our main character uses his abilities to turn to a life of crime, and it gets him into a lot of trouble. The sequel premieres on Netflix on the 28th of February. And now let's discuss the series coming to Netflix this month. First up is The Tourist. This is the story of a man who loses his memory due to a near-fatal road accident, and now he has to uncover the truth about his life and his past as he tries to stay alive because people are hunting him. The first season of The Tourist becomes available by February 1st, and the second season will be available in the year of our leap year on the 29th of February. Next, we have One Day. This limited series tells the story of two lovers, Dex and M, who reunite on the same day of every year spanning decades. The series is based on the best-selling book of the same name and is the second iteration of the story. The 14-episode series is going to be available on Netflix on the 8th of February. Next up, Love is Blind is a reality show where people meet each other and start a relationship, sometimes to the point of engagement and marriage without ever seeing each other's faces until a big reveal. It's wild, even for reality show standards, and it's coming back for its 6th season on the 16th of February. And then we gotta talk about Einstein and the Bomb. This is a documentary drama series that's about the life of Albert Einstein after he fled Nazi Germany and how his work shaped history and science as we know it. The series will have archival footage as well as dramatization to give the most authentic depiction of this great man's story. Next up, Avatar: The Last Airbender. The long-awaited live-action adaptation of the popular kids show that's beloved around the world is here. In a world divided between 4 nations, water, earth, fire, and air, each nation has individuals or benders who are people capable of controlling the element of their nation's name. A war led by the Fire Nation breaks out and the race of airbenders gets eradicated. All hopes lie on the Avatar, the master of all 4 elements, to defeat the Fire Nation and put a stop to the war. This is his story, the story of The Last Airbender, and it's gonna be available on Netflix by February 22nd. One of the series that I'm most excited to be making its way to Netflix is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This follows the lives of a group of police officers from the 99th precinct in Brooklyn, New York, and the wacky adventures that they have. The series is rife with an excessive amount of laughs, particularly from the series' main protagonist, Jake Peralta, played by Andy Samberg. He gives a phenomenal performance alongside his co-stars Terry Crews, Jolo Truglio, Melissa Fumero, and the late Andre Braugher, and many others. The first 4 seasons are making their way to Netflix on February 26th. Some other series that are coming to Netflix include Monk Season 1 through 8, The Vince Staples Show, and House of Ninja. So that's about it for all the Netflix releases and additions in February. Let me know what you think about these movies and shows in the comments below. Be sure to check out our other videos where we talk about great movies on Netflix and other streaming platforms. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching Cinema Cascade.